Hi everyone, and welcome on today's information session on the Master Track in Urban Digital Transformation and Innovation. This program is part of the Urban Management and Development Master Program at IHS. And today we will explore the content of this course a bit deeper. My name is Beatriz, and I'm the moderator of today's session. And we have Beatriz Calzada and Sofia Pagliarin as the coordinators of this program, who will dive deeper into the content. So let's see what we will going to cover.
Hello.
Yes. Today we were going to cover a bit of information on the lectures. So you will hear more about Beatriz and Sofia. You will also learn a bit more about the program, its content, what kind of assignment you will be doing, what teaching methods do we use, and how this course actually contributes to the Sustainable Development Goals. Then we will close the session with admission application topics, and you will also learn more about the alumni of IHS and this master program. And at the end, you will find our contact details and our social media. So let's dive into the lectures segment. So you will hear a bit more about Bea and Sofia.
Hello, everyone. So, yes, I am a researcher in economics and innovation. My PhD is in economics of innovation, and I've specialized in this topic as well as its impact on economic growth. I've also done a lot on industrial economics. Particularly, I focused on the mining and concrete industries and how they play a role in energy transitions. I've also done research on economic resilience and inequality. Also, because of the topics that I've explored, I have looked at global value chains and their impact on local economic growth, as well as economic complexity, and a little bit about economic geography.
Thank you, Beatriz. I will introduce myself. I am Sofia Pagliarin. I am a sociologist as a background, and my expertise is in urban transitions and digitalization processes. I have been working on infrastructure planning and implementation, also in connection to spatial planning. How large-scale spatial projects are implemented in cities. And I have also been working in the domain of socio-technological studies, in particular in technological transitions and digital transformation processes in city administrations. I'm also passionate about complexity-informed approaches, both conceptually and methodologically in the social sciences. And regarding methods, I am a qualitative researcher with a key interest in set-theoretic configurational comparative methods for studying differences and similarities across cities. These are the people that join us during the specialization course. So it's Beatriz and me. Then we have Lasse Gerritz, who is also the academic director currently, and he is an expert in infrastructure development, in complexity theories, and also in the urban transitions of cities in terms, for instance, of the electric vehicles adoptions, and he will be dealing with in the master track on algorithmic governance and the data governance and the use of data to support the governance decisions in cities.
So besides Lasse, we also have Paula Nagler. She's also an economist, and she has worked a lot on topics related to labor markets. And for instance, she has extensive experience in impact evaluation. She has also experience on different topics related to urban dynamics, for instance, during the COVID lockdown and so on. And we also have Dr. Jan Franzen, who is an expert on development studies and has extensive experience on consultancy. He has done some research on community-based initiatives and digital divide, for instance, here in the Netherlands.
Okay, let's look at the structure of the academic year. We usually start in the 1st of September, and the first block starts from September and it ends around Christmas in December. So in this part, we call this the core period. During this time, you have classes with all the other specializations. So regardless of your chosen track, you will have the same courses as the other master tracks, namely urban complexity, urban governance, urban data analytics, and research design. As you can see, the second two is kind of a preparation for your thesis, so you can correctly analyze your data, and you also get to know more about how to build your thesis. In the second block that we're currently in, from January until April, is the second block. This is when the specializations happen, all the course-specific classes happen. So during this time, you only have classes within your specialization, and this is the time when you start working on your thesis proposal. Once your thesis proposal is accepted, you enter the thesis period, which happens from April until August, and usually middle or end of August, we have the closing ceremony where you receive your diploma. So this is the rough overview of the year.
Okay, so why study this program? Well, we've been thinking about what are our main points here. And I would start with the distinctive curriculum. As you saw, we come from very different backgrounds, and usually when you study this kind of topics, you go either for economics or you go more down the technology studies track. And here we really have the opportunity to look at both economics and governance aspects from different disciplines. And that is really bringing some interesting perspectives for students, and also, I think, offers a very unique type of program. The other thing is that we really have a lot of emphasis on different theories. So from sociology to economics, it's quite diverse. And we don't stop there. We really make an effort to bring this theory into real world applications. So we have, for instance, different insights into labor markets, algorithmic implications, and of course, energy transitions, because these are not happening in silos. These are things that are happening quite closely from each other.
Yes, and then another key point of the program is that we are going to have tailored specializations. So within this master track, you will be able to decide also on a specific topic that you want to specialize, which is either related to economic development or algorithmic governance. And of course, you will have time to decide which one you prefer. But indeed, it is, as Bea said, our program is organized to combine the best of both worlds and to bring in different perspectives, different types of knowledge, but then also to allow you to specialize specifically and follow this mini specialization within the master track. Regarding skills, they also mirror the diversity of the program, and actually the overlap and the combination of both. So you will follow a course, an introductory course to econometrics, which will give you the basis to further develop, for instance, your knowledge and skills regarding data analytics. but you will also look at qualitative and comparative methods, so from a completely different perspective, so set theoretic and configurational, which also ties in very well with this complexity approach that we have towards transitions, innovation, transformation in cities. And therefore, we also organized the skills part to allow you to have good tools for when you will end the master successfully. This is a visualization or an image of how the master track will develop. As you can see, we have 12 weeks in total. And both are, these 12 weeks are organized through thematic weeks. So each week has a specific topic that is common to both the economic and governance modules. And as you can see, also, you will be assessed during this master track. There will be some key moments for that. You will be informed about the assignments that you will have to do. But the program is really structured along the idea of a journey, so that you will start from a specific point to then develop along until the closing week, where you will be able to specialize either on economic development or on algorithmic governance.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it's also, sorry, Katica, thank you. It's also good to clarify that throughout this journey, we have the skills module running in parallel. So we have these thematic weeks, and we also have the skills happening. And I would just like to highlight, for instance, that in the first week, as Sofia mentioned, we have introduction to the main concepts in our different, let's say, modules and our different perspectives. And then we analyze innovation diffusion. So we keep building up. For instance, in Energy 4, we focus on, let's say, these energy transitions, and then we move on to smart cities, where we critically examine all of this. We also try to make sure that we have different spaces so students can focus on their assignments. So it's also good that we have this reading week. And of course, as we mentioned, you can see that also in the last weeks, week 10 and week 11, we have these separation of the group where they choose what they want to focus on, either economics or algorithmic governance. So I don't know if you want to add.
Exactly. Now that also in the image is not that there is you will go down from a cliff from week 5 to week 7, but it's basically a turn. So you have to look at it in a more bi-dimensional way, because after the reading week, you will start these mini specializations that we were telling you about, and then you will really get into the final sprint of the master track.
Yeah. Okay, so mainly our teaching methods rely on two formats, lectures and workshops. Lectures are still quite interactive, so we do ask students to participate, but it is in workshops where we primarily ask students to take the lead, let's say, in their learning process. So it's a lot more active. And we roughly have 50% and 50% of lectures and workshops in all weeks. We also follow an approach where learning is highly independent and requires active engagement. So this approach is very, let's say, I wouldn't say it's unique to the Netherlands, but it's very commonly found here. So it's not like we go there and we share our knowledge. No, we expect students to prepare, and we really, expect them to be independent learners. And resource-wise, of course, because we have a strong emphasis on skills, we work with two statistical software, Stata and R. So, of course, students are a little bit more acquainted with Stata because we start with that in the core period, but then more or less in the middle of the track, they start working with R, which also offers a lot more opportunities. So having said that, we would like to emphasize that our program, our track is not focused on a technical orientation. So although, yes, we analyze what big data is, and we learn, for instance, a little bit of what machine learning models offer for analysis, it's not the focus of our study program. So it's very important to make sure that students are aware that we need to learn a little bit of how these models operate, but it's not the main purpose of our program.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Bea. And I would also add that regarding the workshops, there will also be a thesis development workshop during the master track that will help you that will accompany you in a way in the development of your thesis idea. Because of course, this 1 year master is very intensive, so you will really have a full immersion in studying and in individual and group work. But of course, you are going to do that with our support. Therefore, we have designed there also a couple of sessions where you will be able to discuss with us your thesis idea before you are assigned to supervisor and to specifically focus on your thesis.
Okay, and so here is an example of an assignment. So for instance, this year, as part of the economics module, we had an individual essay called Navigating Opportunities and Challenges of the Digital Economy. And here, this is an example where students can apply economic theory in the evaluation of how these new digital economies, for instance, Uber or Airbnb and, I don't know, Alibaba, can trigger, of course, positive socio-economic dynamics. For instance, better job opportunities for low-skilled workers or domestic migrants, but also problems that go beyond the business realm, like, for instance, racial profiling that can easily happen with these type of technologies. So this would be an example. And of course, there are many other instances where the governance aspect is at the center of the assignments. We try to keep it balanced, but of course, there are a lot of synergies there.
Yes, then we have some field visits. The ones that you see here are just examples of field trips that we did in the past. For instance, we have been to the Rotterdam transport company to look at their digitalization process, so how actually the management of physical infrastructures in cities that we use every day, like trams, buses, is actually controlled remotely through data and data control rooms. And that maybe you can tell something about the Rotterdam port.
So, for instance, we've also been to the Rotterdam port, which allows us to observe how a lot of the dynamics here in this particular city have played out, but also how they connect to a much larger network, for instance, linked to GVCs and linked to energy transition. So I would say it was an instance where we could see a lot of the theoretical aspects that we discussed throughout the program really materializing. And so I think this is also one of the amazing things about being in Rotterdam, that you don't have to travel that far to see a lot of the, let's say, theories that we explore actually becoming alive, and then you can be first-hand observer of those dynamics.
Yes, indeed. And if I may add something, of course, the field visits are not meant to be a tour where we just bring you around to have some fun. Fun will also be there, of course, as much as possible. But the idea is that we really observe in real life good instances of what we have seen in class through theories. And then that we can, during the visits, we can have discussions on how well concepts can be applied to the case studies that we are visiting, but not touring.
Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about some of the topics that we've had in this track. So, for instance, one topic looked into the performance metrics of electrical vehicles in Udaipur's public transport system. A little bit along those lines, we've had a comparative quantitative analysis of bike sharing systems performance in different cities in the developed and developing regions. We've also had, for instance, research looking into the role that geographical proximity and path dependence have in robot adoption across Europe. And finally, eco-efficiency in urban development, especially looking at energy consumption in Paris's architectural projects. So these are some examples. Of course, these are not just the topics that we look at. This, I think, presents some examples of how students have used the elements that are given in the program, and then use them for their research interests. But it's not limited to this. I don't know if you want
exactly. Yeah, for instance, it could also be in the past we have also had comparative analysis of 2 case studies, for instance, on the process of digitalization or on how specific data governance policies have been implemented in different cities. Therefore, it's really, as Beatriz said, these are just examples. Of course, we are there to help you develop your research idea, which we hope will be on broadly the topic of digitalization in cities. But again, we are also interested that you can actually work on something that you are interested in. Therefore, we are going to support you there in find your research topic too.
And maybe if I can add one last thing. So our program is unique in the sense that we're not working with particular topics. We're not talking about eco-efficiency or public transport systems. We're talking, or robotization. We're talking about developing a lens, a theoretical framework. And from there, you can develop your thesis however you want. In terms of topics, it's more about developing this lens, this critical lens.
Exactly, and this also means that you have to come up with your research topic, as we have seen in one of the previous slides. You should become an independent student, an independent thinker. Therefore, really the thesis period is also yours to explore a topic or a theme that you like most. And this also, yes, the joy and the sorrow of such a program. Yes, and then of course the master track tries to tie in to SDGs. As you can see here, we have included the ones that we think are mostly related to what we do. For instance, SDG 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure, because this is an SDG that combines both the economic and governance side aspects, both opportunities and challenges, as Beatriz was saying before. Therefore, we look at the processes, economic processes, and which opportunities and the challenges they pose to cities, as well as governance processes, therefore facilitating factors and resistances that might happen when planning and implementing innovation and the technological transitions, for instance, digitalization of city administrations. And then, of course, we also have mentioned several times energy transitions. So indeed, there is quite a bit of room during the master track on energy transitions, sustainable transition in the domain of energies. For instance, the adoption of electric vehicles would also be included there, although it's also related with mobility. But so you can see that sustainability, for instance, is cross-cutting, and our master track focuses on digitalization, but of course it reaches out also to other broad topics that are relevant nowadays for contemporary cities. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, well, I mean, just to bring another example. So as I mentioned, our colleague Paula Nagler, she has worked a lot on labor markets. And so there are a few sessions where, for instance, we explore how these new digital technologies and, you know, they beyond business applications or urban management applications, they also change the way work is organized, and also how, in some cases, as I mentioned, it can create opportunities, but not everybody might necessarily be able to have the skills to participate in such an economy. And perhaps a little bit linked to what Sofia was mentioning about sustainability. For instance, responsible consumption and production, on the one hand, can be supported by a lot of the digital technologies. With Internet of Things, we can make things more efficient. But on the other hand, there are also things that are not necessarily positive for the environment. For instance, water consumption and what it means for these big data centers, and especially as we're facing more and more water constraints. These are dynamics that are somehow overlooked in many instances when we talk about the so-called twin transition, referring to energy and digital transitions.
Yes. Now, after all the content, I come with the more technical part. So as we mentioned, this course is 12 months long. So you start in September 2024 and end in August 2025. The tuition fee is a flat rate. For the upcoming academic year, it's 27,800 euros. This means that you pay the same fees regardless of your nationality, let it be European or non-European. The only difference your nationality makes is in terms of deadlines. So as you can see, we have non-EU EEA and EU EEA deadlines. For non-EU students, it's 1st of June, and for EU students, it's 1st of July. And an important disclaimer, there is the early bird deadline that is 15 April. And if you pay the fees by 15 May each year, then you get a 2,000 tuition fee waiver. This can change for the upcoming years, but we always have an early bird application deadline for students who want to secure their spot early. Then a bit about the admission requirements. So you can see that we have quite a few. The most important one, I think, is good academic performance with at least second class B or second class lower B or equivalent. If your system is not linked here, you can check out more information on this on the website. It's also important to have a bachelor's degree from a recognized university, and also proof of sufficient command of English. This is a TOEFL or an IELTS language exam. The exact points can be found on the website. It's also very important to have the ability to interact and work with people from very diverse cultures. I'm not sure if you mentioned it already, but this master program is very international, and we do want to keep this course international. That means that you will have to interact with people from very different academic backgrounds and also cultures. So it's important that you're used to that in a way. Working experience is not a requirement, but is always an asset. So you have a different angle when we look at certain things. And a bit about your educational background. So as you can see, we have a lot of different fully or partially relevant backgrounds. As I mentioned, we really try to keep this program very diverse in terms of education background. So you could be a civil engineer or have a bachelor's in sociology. Your input is regarded very important in both cases, because we do want to encourage peer learning as well in the program. So you not just only learn from the course coordinators, but also from your peers who might look at the same topic very differently. So you can see the list of fully and partially relevant educational backgrounds here and also on our website. And everyone always asks how to finance your studies. We do have a partial scholarship called NL Scholarship that's worth 5,000 euros, and it's awarded to 4 students based on excellence. It's very important that it's your first time coming to the Netherlands. This sum might change in the upcoming years, but we always want to reward as many people as we can. So currently it's 4 students. And there's also the early bird tuition fee waiver. So as I mentioned earlier, if you pay the tuition fee before 15th of May, you can benefit from a 2,000 euro tuition fee waiver. And good news is that you can combine the NL scholarship with the early bird tuition fee waiver. So this way you could save up to 9,000 euros. 7,000 euros. We also have a website, more information on our website with a list of external scholarships that you can take a look at, but you're also always encouraged to look locally in your country or in your region if there's anything that we have not covered on our website. And a bit about our alumni. So you can see that we have a very diverse alumni group as well, as we like to keep our classroom very diverse as well. A lot of our alumni work in the public sector or the private sector. Some of them continue their way to academia. So we actually have 2 PhD students currently at IHS who come from the master program. So there's always an opportunity if you want to further your studies at IHS to attend our PhD program. And as you can also see that most of our alumni are employed full-time, or they also has started their own business, so they're entrepreneurs or employers, and some of them are currently still students because, as I mentioned, they continued their way to academia. You can also find some examples of their current titles. So we have consultants, we have nature restorations officer and analysts, but we always like to keep in touch with them. And if you want to have a project with us after you finished the program, we're always happy to think along and have a joint project with you. A bit about how to get in touch with us. So you can email the admissions office at admission@ihs.nl, or if you have course-specific questions, you can email course inquiries at ihs.nl. You can take a look at our website as well. As I mentioned, we have the full list of admission requirements there. Or if you want to find out more information from the master tracks or our student life, you're always welcome to take a look. And also stay connected on our social media. So we have an Instagram page or Twitter or X page where we post more student-related content. So you can have interviews with our students, for example. On LinkedIn and Facebook, you can also find us there. We post a bit more about our projects and what our researchers are up to. And on YouTube, you're probably already looking at our YouTube now, watching our video, but you're always welcome to find more videos from us. And thank you for your attention, and hope you had a nice time.